You are listening to Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness with your hosts, Angie Roberts and Kimberly Murphy. Please be advised that some of the topics of this podcast can be triggering and sensitive in nature.
A Porterville woman has been charged with homicide a week after she allegedly caused a deadly crash while driving drunk. Porterville police say 27-year-old Rebecca Inman was driving with more than double the legal blood alcohol limit, 0.19%, when her car crashed into a 2016 Mercedes on the night of January 10th, 2020. A 69-year-old woman passenger in the Mercedes suffered major injuries and was taken to a Bay Area hospital in critical condition. The woman died due to her injuries 4 days later.
Hey Spoonies, mental health warriors, and our supporters and friends. Welcome to another episode of Unified. I'm Kimberly Murphy here with Angie Roberts.
Hey y'all.
And today we were talking about a young woman out of California named Rebecca Inman, who we believe was wrongfully accused and arrested for a crime that she honestly just did not commit. We'll be showing you some evidence today, and if you're not outraged by the end of this podcast, then you're not listening.
Right, I agree.
So today we have two special guests here with us, Jennifer Van Atta, who is the advocate for Stephanie Inman, who has a daughter that is incarcerated. Her name is Rebecca, and it's been a gross injustice for Rebecca, a horrible situation for her family. And right now, Stephanie, can you sort of just tell us what kind of person Rebecca is and what her life goals were before all of this happened? You know, so we can all get a sense of what kind of person she was and what was taken from her.
Rebecca is a very caring, loving person. She's an amazing daughter, an amazing sister, an amazing mother.
I hear you. I know you're crying because you also haven't been able to see them, right?
No.
Okay, so
I've had a minimal visit with her daughter, and it's once in a while her daughter's father will pop up and say like, hey, she really needs her grandma too. She needs you guys in her life too, and whatnot. And we'll set up visits, and we've had one visit, and then it was like I got ignored again for a while, and then he recently reached out again, and we set up a visit, and I did actually decline that visit. And the only reason why I declined that visit was because everybody was really sick around us. Everybody had came down with COVID, and his mom's battling an illness right now that's really severe, and I didn't want to risk,
Right. So for those of you who don't know yet, Rebecca Inman was in a car accident, which resulted in the death of an older woman. So the night of the accident, if you're allowed to discuss it, where was Becca before she got into the car? Where were her and Erica hanging out?
That part is not completely clear to me. I'm not sure of all of the details or whatnot. I know that they were at Rebecca's house, and then I know that they had gone up to a bar, and then from the bar I know that they went to a store, and I know that from the store on their way to wherever they were going, I know that that's within a block from the store. After the store is when the accident happened.
Okay, so when they left the bar, did the bartender know that Erica was basically insisting to drive the car?
The bartender had told what the bartender had told us was, because I immediately started reaching out, because I had questions that I wanted answered as a mom. They're telling me, what happened was when my daughter called me from the hospital, she was on the phone with me, and I had asked her, "Are you okay? What happened?" And she said, "Mom, we were in an accident." And the nurse had came by and said, "And you were driving, and another lady's not okay." and Rebecca, we were FaceTiming. And at that moment, Rebecca's face dropped. And she was like, I guess I was driving. But she was not. And, she, get in mind, she was heavily intoxicated.
Right.
She just had a major head injury.
Right.
And it was, just went through all this trauma.
She was like twice the legal limit, right? When they tested her? Right. Okay.
And I want to put this out there that Rebecca doesn't, this isn't Rebecca. Rebecca was taken out for drinks for her birthday.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Okay. Her birthday is January 16th. The accident happened January 15th or 10th or something, somewhere. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
A few days before her birthday.
So she was out basically celebrating, and were there witnesses that said they saw her get out of the car from the driver's seat?
No, what happened was, they had gone to the store, and when they were at the store, the cashier saw that my daughter was in the passenger seat. And another lady had seen that my daughter was in the passenger seat. And so when they had crashed, one of the witnesses that was on scene had said, wait a minute, she had reached out to, I had ended up reaching out to the girl the next day because Linda at the bar, when I had questioned Linda from the bar, Linda said that it was actually just recently that Erica was allowed back in the bar because they always had to fight her for her keys.
Right.
And she said it wasn't anything abnormal that night. She said, we don't even know your daughter.
Now, she also has priors, doesn't she? DUIs? Erica does?
Yes.
Okay.
And the priors, I'm going to tell you about the priors. Okay. She has a multi-prior alcohol record from San Luis Obispo County. She has a DUI that was dismissed 2 weeks after the accident. She has, and this is the same courthouse, she has a current warrant for her arrest in Nevada for DUI.
Oh, wow.
And this accident. And then after I started going forward with the public, people had started, questioning, the accident and stuff. People had started responding to me, and there was multiple people that had came to me and told me, listen, Erica is good at getting away from these accidents. And people had told me about, a Corolla that she had crashed while right after they had all left the bar. And she didn't get in trouble because she left the scene before they showed up.
Oh, wow. So somebody else took the rap for that too.
No, there was just nobody there.
Oh, okay.
So, and if you don't make contact within so long and nobody was hurt or damaged, she had rolled it in a field. So,
right.
So
she has a reputation, obviously, for doing things like this, whereas Rebecca didn't.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Okay, so she's in the passenger side of the car. And from what I understand...
Wait, who's in the passenger side of the car?
Okay, Rebecca, right?
My daughter was in the passenger side of the car. And what happened was when they got into the accident, Rebecca said that the other girl was like kind of over on her side, like leaning over to her side. And Rebecca tried to get out of the passenger side to get help, but the door was jammed.
Right.
And so she went ahead. I guess the car, see, I don't know much about it. I'm just going by what I've been told. And I guess the car was kind of at a slant. And so Rebecca tried to crawl over to get help.
Right.
So she tried to crawl out to get help. And when she got to the driver's side, she collapsed when she saw the rest of the wreckage.
Now, where was Erica when this happened? Did she already get out?
She was halfway. She was halfway in, like leaning over to the passenger side.
Oh, okay.
And the rest of the way in the driver's. But Rebecca had climbed over her.
Okay.
And tried to go out the driver's window. And so Erica took it. Rebecca remembers Erica telling her, get off of me, hurry up, I can't get in any more trouble. And so now we know why.
Right.
Right.
Now there was an injury,
And-
right, where it kind of confirmed that Erica was driving the car because she had injuries that were consistent of someone who was driving, whereas your daughter had.
Erica's injuries are okay. So the girls bumped heads, is what Rebecca said. Rebecca had a severe right front or left front, and Erica had a right rear. Okay.
Right.
Erica had broken ribs.
Which
Erica had
makes sense
a
for steering wheel. Yeah.
right broken foot pedal. I mean, a right broken foot, and the brake that it was is a known gas pedal brake,
Okay.
in which the gas pedal was broken off as well.
Which I noticed when I was kind of doing some research that she posted this on her Facebook page. So,
She did.
which I'm sorry, I find that humorous only because,
You should see the stuff that she posts on her Facebook
but the evidence
page.
is right there. She's proving that she did it with, I mean, to me, that alone should tell the police a story. So when they did the investigation on the car, was the door working because it was in the right position
No.
at that point? So you could even still get
No.
the door open. Okay.
No.
Okay. So
Rebecca, she went to go out the window, and she was found dangling by her, like her legs. And they didn't even see her. When the first two witnesses were looking for the person, they were like, oh my God, where's the driver? And then they found her touching the ground, out of the car, touching the ground. But Becca asked for some help. You know, she was in a crawling position. And Becca asked them for some help because she, wanted to get up. She was dangling. Well, they put her in the driver's seat. But the one, I guess, to whoever this anonymous witness is that was on scene, he said that he thought that she was trying to run away, so he kept her there till the cops came.
Oh. And so what does Becca say about that? She doesn't, it's kind of fuzzy to her, but does she remember being held there, or what does she say happened in that moment?
She remembers she was just trying to get help, and all she wanted to do was get help.
Okay.
And but she remembers what happened.
Now, was there a camera that caught this accident? Because they went through an intersection, correct?
They went through a stop. It was a stop sign.
Okay, so there wasn't any record of the accident where.
There is no cameras. We've looked.
That's too bad.
And it's a really heavily crashed area.
Well,
But one of the guys that owns a building over there said that there's like multiple crashes there a month.
oh my goodness.
And it's dark. It's a really
And
dark
it's super
area.
dark.
Yeah, they should definitely light that area up if this is happening all the time. And you would think
Well,
that
they
the
should put
police would
cameras
take
up,
that into consideration as well.
And do some road construction as well. Yeah. Well, no, they just, it's a long story with the police.
So she gets arrested. Is she pleading innocent? What is her?
She's never once questioned. She calls the police department the very next morning. We called multiple times down to speak to Officer Galloway, and they just had nothing to say. They never once questioned her. They never once came and checked her injuries out. They never once nothing.
So what happened? How did she end up in jail?
She was in the hospital. She was, she had some bleeding in the brain, and she was in the hospital, and she was sitting there waiting for them to come and question her, and all of a sudden they came and locked her up.
Oh wow!
And she's never had the opportunity to fight her innocence or even have a fair investigation since.
I just can't even believe. Oh my gosh! I just can't even believe that how poorly this investigation was done. With the actual.
Well, they did an investigation. I mean, for a little bit of an investigation, but you're right. The investigation was apparently poorly because Erica's claiming that they didn't even know she was in the car till they were almost towing it away.
I heard that too. I saw that online on her page as well. But I mean, it just seems so clear cut to me, right, Angie? I mean, the injury supported, the door supports it. The only thing that's in question is who was driving.
Why is there no significance in getting this into trial?
Right.
Why is there no significance in rushing? Why not let her out on OR? Why not move forward?
Exactly.
That
She
is
was
the
denied.
question. She
has
is
been
sitting there,
completely denied bail.
and this one girl, Erica, is allowed to harass her witnesses. She's allowed to harass Stephanie. She's allowed to harass her family. She's allowed to do all these things. Okay? She's got multiple charges on her. She's got DUIs on her. She's got record for accidents. She's been to jail. She's got a record, yet she is still free. And they're literally torturing Rebecca. Why? Why in such a small town is this young lady so important and dangerous that you guys want to keep her shut up and kept away from society?
Right.
What does she know? Why is there no significance to her life?
Exactly.
Why are we disregarding her as a human being?
That's horrible.
She is a
It is.
being that has constitutional rights.
So, yeah, I don't understand
And-
how they've gotten away with this without questioning her.
Every writ. If an attorney doesn't want to work on it and you're having conflict with your attorney, you have that right to request a different attorney. Why is she denied this?
She was denied. I had to hire her a new attorney.
If her mother is the power of attorney and my child is going to court, why is the mother not allowed in the courtroom?
Oh my goodness.
That's public information.
Oh wow.
It was a fight.
Why
It was a fight. I was literally screamed at.
Torturing this young woman? You are literally torturing this young woman in this small town. Why the person that could actually be the person that's guilty is continuing to run up her name.
Right.
Is continuing to drink, is continuing to fight her own demon. But in the meantime, there's a woman that's been, her life has been taken away and her family don't have closure. Why?
Right.
Why are you keeping it going? What is the point of the torture? And at this point, it is torture.
I was gonna ask. You know, I know it's torture for you guys as well. What kind of mental health issues has Rebecca been dealing with, and you as a family, Stephanie?
Rebecca is actually very strong. Rebecca is very strong in her faith. Rebecca takes punishment as well.
Right.
She accepts responsibility for this as well. But she doesn't accept responsibility for somebody else's actions. Rebecca's a very strong believer and firm in fighting, and especially fighting for rights and fighting for what is right. So she's, as far as mental torture, I can't even imagine what my daughter, the mother that she, was, the mental torture that this has had on her. She had her own stable environment. She had her own place for years with her children. She walked all the kids to school in the morning, she did homework with her, I just can't even imagine the mental torture that is going on in her mind over her children. That's all she talks about is, just coming home to her children. And, let's just say, the rights are being so severely violated here that she didn't even have an opportunity to set her children up. She was just taken.
They never even gave her a chance to go. So why was her bail? Her bail was denied, right? She was
zero bail. She has had zero bail since the day of one.
Now they usually only do that for people who are really dangerous. This doesn't.
Well, they're calling her a malice murderer.
That's the other thing I wanted to ask you. The charges seem really extreme because usually
the charges are excessive. Because what they do in a situation like this when people fight is they stack charges, excessive charges, so they have an opportunity that if you're going to fight, they can push you into a plea.
So what charges is she facing right now?
187 murder.
Oh, wow.
Life in prison
No.
for a gross vehicular manslaughter that she would have already done her time for.
Right.
She's never had a prior. She doesn't have a record. And if you look at her Facebook, it's all about God.
Mhm.
She's not a malice person. She went out with this girl for drinks. And nobody knows what happened. Nobody knows what happened that night but them two and God. But from what I've been shown and what's came forward to us and what nobody else is looking at except for the outsiders out here paying attention now, my daughter wasn't the driver, and I believe her. And I have to stand up for her with this because she doesn't have a voice in there. They're not allowing her to.
Right. Yeah.
And anything that I try to do to voice, anything Jennifer tries to do to voice, we get shut down. We get blocked.
Jennifer, why do you think that is? I know that you work as an advocate. So what do you think the issue is with why they're not taking her information or taking the investigation seriously?
I mean, our whole system is tainted. So this might just be one of those that's been tainted. I know when you're fighting the system, they're going to do everything they can to break you.
That's true.
Stephanie has showed herself to be a fighter. Stephanie has showed herself to not give up. So to them, it's no longer about Rebecca. Rebecca's got a mother named Stephanie that's out here causing all this ruckus.
Right.
So now the only way to get to Stephanie would be to do what they do to Rebecca. Okay. And the light is being shown on all the facilities and how corrupt our system is, so this is just one proof that this is just one more thing that needed to be brought to light to show that it's all of California.
Right.
It's the whole entire system. It's not just one prison. It's not just one mental health facility. It's the whole system as a whole. And it starts from Kathleen down. We got Diaz out of there. We worked on getting him out of there. And Kathleen came to, save the world. And she didn't. And it's, everybody's thinking, okay, these people are incarcerated. This is what they deserve. Okay, but what they deserve with a pandemic, nobody expected a pandemic.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And mental health alone is a struggle. Okay. Yeah. Because you don't know where that mental health began or what the triggers are. These people are not trained for mental health. Okay. So, and they are not trained for medical. So if somebody is having illusions, they're going to take them to the mental health ward. And of course, they're going to give them something that sedates them, but they're not fixing these core problems.
Right. Exactly.
These people have core issues and being incarcerated, they're not rehabilitating them. They're adding to it by not giving them their medication on time, by letting them hear on the loudspeakers that another person has died from COVID, by, just all like everybody banging on the doors and stuff. You don't understand. That is torture in itself. Putting somebody in a cell because they did something wrong, putting them in a cell for 5 days by themselves. Wow. With 1 hour of light. Why? How are you fixing that person? They don't want to get to the core because they won't get paid for those beds. If they fix a person that has issues, that person is going to be a productive person in society, which if that person is a productive person in society, that facility won't get paid for that bed.
Right. So this is just big business for them.
It's a business for them all.
On Rebecca's behalf, we filed a motion December 15th, once again, for a bail motion, OR bail motion. And there's laws like the Humphrey law and whatnot that, statute states that you have to have clear evidence that, to hold people on these charges and whatnot. And when we applied for this motion, it's been 2 years, and, Rebecca grew up here in a local small area. And she's I'm talking about 30 years she's been around here. She just recently moved over to Porterville a few years prior. And she asked to be able to come home to Victory Outreach Women's Program. It's a Christian-based program. It's a home, a woman's home, where sobriety would take place. Her Christianity would continue in her faith. She'd be able to be a productive member of society, but still under the watch, and they denied her.
Well, I don't understand.
Saying that she was a flight risk, and she's a malice threat to this society.
This is so extreme. I don't understand how things get like this.
I know, because the evidence is, there's enough evidence. If I were to be sitting in a jury, say this goes to trial, there'd be no way I would vote to convict this girl. There's so much evidence that puts doubt in your mind as that she was the driver. I feel horrible for her. I feel like she's telling the truth as well.
There is so much more. Yeah, there's so much more evidence that I, have saved for the attorneys when they're ready. They're not even, our attorneys aren't even ready for evidence right now. They are so upset at the way they are handling the situation, and her not even having the right to fight her case, the right to even post bail.
Yeah.
Anything.
So I know that you've been working with Breaking the Silence, Operation Innocence Project, and Our Father's Home. Is that right?
No.
Actually,
no. We were working with Our Father's Home, and some things happened through that, and we're not going to discuss that.
That's fine. Okay.
That's fine.
But Breaking the Silence, Lisa Riley and James Jones and them have all been a big, huge part of our fight, of our advocating. Jennifer Van Arda with We Fight for One, We Fight for All. She's our bulldog advocate.
Awesome.
She is amazing at what she does, and I can call her at any moment, at any time, and be like, Jennifer, we have to talk. Right. Like, I'm so sad I can't do this, and she just keeps guiding me, and I really appreciate her and whatnot. The ACLU has helped us.
Wow, that's great.
And then. Yeah, and they're continuing to help us. So we're hoping.
Now, you also have a petition for the public, correct? Where can people find that?
Okay, so we have a Facebook page that's been up for a while for Rebecca. It's called Bring Rebecca Home. And on the Facebook page, you can see a lot of the videos that have been made. You can see a lot of the, the stories and everything. You can see the whole fight there. There's a petition there. And the biggest thing that we need right now is that petition signed. And the reason is because the judge basically laughed at the petition that we took to court. And there just wasn't enough signatures. And, we need to show that
there's enough people that are upset.
We support Rebecca out here. We support Rebecca having the opportunity to fight her case. We support Rebecca having the opportunity to have her rights. If her rights are going to be taken away like this, who's to know who else is? Right. We know several other, I work with several other people that are dealing with situations like this. Other ladies that have been charged with the same charge wrongfully like this, and fighting.
Now, how many signatures did you have the first time you brought it to court?
It was local signatures, and I didn't know that it wasn't that much. Okay. It really wasn't that much. It was like a few hundred.
Well, hopefully, now that this is going to be aired, hopefully people will at least go over there and sign that. And you also said you have, well, because I asked you, I want everyone out there to know that I had to ask Stephanie where we could all help her with funds if we were inclined to do so. And she doesn't even have a GoFundMe account, but she does have a Venmo. So at my encouragement, I hope that she will share that with you guys now.
I do have a Venmo account that they can use if anybody wants to help. I do pay, a high amount for her attorney every month, as well as, video chats, commissary and whatnot. And I'd like to go forward with getting like a crash reenactment and stuff, but all of this costs money, and this is all coming out of my own pocket. Right. So, if somebody does want to donate, I set up a Venmo account for, I believe it's at Bring Rebecca Home. It is on her Facebook. There's a link. You can go to it there.
Okay, great.
And any little bit helps,
I would hope that
And it will
people,
all go towards Becca's attorneys and fees and stuff that we incur. So.
and I hope that people do help, because this young woman should not be in jail, taken away from her children, while the guilty party is out there literally still partying.
Right.
She did, she did currently, she just got another DUI recently.
Oh my God.
What?
August 8th. Yeah, August 8th. And that same county and the same courts gave her 8 days on house arrest.
That's
Oh,
it?
my
Or-
goodness.
She didn't even go to jail. No.
So who does she have ties with in that police department?
Well, we're not exactly sure. No, we have a voice recording of her at one time. She did state that her mom was the dispatcher that got the call that night, but we found out otherwise that it was differently. It was actually one of her good friends' mom
Mhm.
that got the call that night.
Oh,
And if I am thinking of the right dispatcher, one of the dispatchers had, if her best friend's mom's name is Kim and it was the dispatcher that got the call that night, she actually had told me one day as I had called to the police department that she valued my fight. So I don't believe that she would have had any involvement, but she does have it. I think that what happened was the police made a mistake and didn't know how to correct it, and the other girl is definitely not going to step up and tell the truth.
exactly.
Right.
And so I don't think that it is all on the police, but I can say that, the police have done a poor investigation, especially not investigating both sides. I think that they have wrongfully charged the wrong person, and I think that they have manipulated more than enough because, I have to say that there has been situations that all the evidence has been destroyed. The car was destroyed when we asked to have it tested. Yeah, all the evidence is destroyed. We asked to have a wallet tested and it's been burned. It's been destroyed. We had an investigator that was we were to get the saliva off the airbag and whatnot. And the car has been completely crushed, dismantled, and destroyed. And I have that verified on paper by the dismantling yard.
Now, see, if they don't have evidence, that she did do this, she has a right to be, like you said, not in jail. She has no priors, and she should be allowed to fight her case. I don't understand why they are not even.
Makes no sense.
Just blows my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
If there's somebody against you and they're full of power and money in that town, could that have to do with
Well,
it?
I noticed too that
Or
Erica
did they
has
just-
a very strong interest in everything that you do on social media. I saw that she was following you on TikTok. That
I don't even look at, and the thing is I don't even look up her name. I don't get involved. I don't look at her stuff. I don't care to hear from her. She knows this. I've told her before, leave my family alone. She likes to message one of my other daughters. And the reason is because my other daughter is so messed up in the head right now that Erica has her thinking that my other daughter was driving.
Oh no.
Oh.
And so whenever they talk, she's like, oh, she said this so I can use it against Rebecca. But I'm sorry, my other daughter is not in a state of mind to be even talking, because first of all, she doesn't know anything about the case.
Right.
Because her situation has not allowed me to share with her the case, because she has a relationship with Erica, and I'm not going to give her the evidence so Erica can get it and then
Use it against her. Yeah.
exactly.
I did
So,
read somewhere though that didn't Erica say to Rebecca said, I didn't do this, and Erica said, I know, hon, or babe, or something like that.
Yeah,
It's gonna be okay.
So what happened was the next day in the hospital, there was a phone call that was made from Erica. Between Erica and Rebecca. And Rebecca had the phone on speakerphone, and Rebecca's sister was sitting next to her. When they were talking, Becca had said, oh, hold on a minute. I don't want to say the wrong words.
That's okay.
Rebecca said, oh, I wasn't driving. Why am I being charged with this? And she's all, I know, sweetie, we'll take care of this. Or so, I don't know. You'll have to read the statement.
Right.
So it's, you know.
But she basically admits
but
that.
But it was said.
Yeah.
But there was a witness the next day in the hospital that heard her say that Rebecca was not driving. And then Erica had gotten upset and texted afterwards. And she said, I wasn't driving.
Right.
And Rebecca says, well, the whole police report's all wrong. And she says, I know.
Oh.
And that's on documentation. That's on documentation text. That's up there on her boards.
Oh my goodness.
Like, there's so much evidence out there. And
for anyone who's listening,
you know,
all of this stuff was super easy for me to find. It's all there. Anybody could find it. It wouldn't take much. So this is not news that the police can't easily, check into, look into.
The chief of police, okay, here's the thing. The chief of police has recently retired all of a sudden for no other than he's served enough time. But that was after we started advocating and started bringing a lot of injustice forward.
He didn't want any involvement in that, I'm sure.
No.
Right.
Why would he?
Right.
It was after I had a sit down conversation with him one day, myself and my father, because I had had enough. And I was like, you have got to listen. I want you to look at this. You've got to, this is not okay. Your police department, your sergeant has already apologized to us.
Right.
Okay. We've already been apologized to from the sergeant saying, we're sorry, that we hope you can understand how the mistake was made. Okay. Why are you going to apologize to me? And then still she's in there.
Exactly. It sounds like enough people have said, there was a mistake made. Erica's basically admitted to being the driver.
Multiple times.
The car, substantiated it. It's really awful that they destroyed the car. I can't even believe they did that in a case like this.
Yeah, car's done. We had an investigator.
You have a right to have them investigate it.
We had an investigator, and he set up an appointment to have the car inspected and stuff. And they had it on hold for their part, and then they released it so they could get their investigating on, and then they put it on hold again so our investigator couldn't get in there and investigate. And then it was released and destroyed and dismantled.
No. That's horrible.
It is. I mean, it's totally taking away your rights, and I think she should be released based on that alone.
Yeah.
Within 2 weeks, the car was released to the dismantling yard.
See, in a case where in a situation that results in death, they should have to keep every piece of evidence. This is unreal. You guys had every right to hire somebody to go in and do your own investigation. The fact that was denied, Jennifer, isn't there a motion that can be filed because they did take away her right to use the evidence?
A dismissal?
Yeah, some sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, but the judge isn't there. The attorney that was assigned didn't want no part of it. The attorney that was assigned was lazy. So he kept pushing it off. So yeah, there's writs that could be written, there's motions that could be filed, but you got to have an attorney to do that.
Right.
Yeah, but wait a minute. And now I have an attorney that is doing that, but it doesn't matter what the law is, because right now they're holding her unlawfully.
Right. They are.
Completely unlawfully. Our attorney has filed a writ, told the judge he really needs to look at what's happening in this courtroom.
Yeah.
Has even made a statement of his client pleading not guilty for no other reason than she is not guilty. And told him that if we had to, he filed this bail motion 2 weeks from being 2 years in there. He filed this bail motion under the Humphrey Act, which the Humphrey law states that that you have to. What the point is it doesn't matter our rights. It doesn't matter if you have an attorney. It's one judge and one district attorney making up their minds on what they're going to do in this situation.
Right.
And that judge has denied and failed her rights as a human being, period. And we have fought hard for our rights. So why do we even have rights if they're just going to be violated?
Exactly. And this happens in this country way more than people think.
Way more.
Yeah.
I had no idea about stuff like this until it happened in my home.
Mhm.
You know, if we can get supporters to listen and to share her story, share her petition, you know, I need help. I seriously am so sick
Mhm.
that I wake up every morning and I don't want to lift my head. My head's in the toilet, puking. I don't sleep. I own my own business and I barely go to work.
I'm so sorry, Stephanie. Oh my goodness.
It's got to be so hard on you mentally.
Mhm.
And then, you know, with the mental, physical aspect can make.
I went into almost I want to say a suicidal moment after her last court hearing, because I felt like even after, you know, hiring attorneys, you know, and them doing what they're supposed to do, it still doesn't matter. The judge is still going to do what he wants to do.
Right.
You know, and so you know, and I was sitting out in the hallway and I set eyes on the other lady for the first time. The other lady that was in the other car with her mom that passed away. And, you know, I didn't realize that it was her. And if I did, I would have asked to speak to her, you know, but instead the district attorney came out and she pulled her off to the side and I heard her say, "Don't worry, we'll get her at sentencing." Well, they have her so manipulated, I believe, too. Like, I don't understand, like, with all this evidence that has came forward, like,
Right.
how can they not see?
Mhm.
I'm only being a mom. I'm not out here doing this to hurt anybody. I'm not out here looking for fame. I'm not out here looking for money. I work my butt off
Right.
to pay to fight this.
Mhm.
She says, if they're going to do this to my daughter, they're going to do it to others. So
That's
that's what gives Stephanie her strength to keep going, because my God, what she goes through. You know, she's talked to mayors, she's talked to Congress,
Yes.
she's talked to ACLU,
The
she's
FBI.
talked to the district attorney, she's talked to everybody just to get told no, and then has to go home and be sane for her kids and her grandkids. And she's got to worry about where one of her other daughters is she okay? And
Why would I go to that extreme? Why would I go to the extreme of sitting down with the FBI? Why would I go to the extreme of introducing myself to the mayor and asking for a sit down for a moment? Why would I go to that extreme of asking these people to can you please look at this? If I even had 1 ounce of thought that my daughter wasn't telling the truth, do you think I'd bring in the FBI?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that I'd sit down and beg the mayor
Right.
for a moment of his time? And I've done that. I did.
Mhm.
I sat down with the FBI.
She's written letters. She's written letters after letters. We've done emails after emails. I've told her, let's call Kathleen. Let's go to their office. Let's protest. I'll go to the state. What do we need to do?
Do you know that,
What do we need to
Kimberly,
do?
you read that I Am That Mother? I sent that to you,
Yes.
the I Am That Mother letter.
Yes.
Okay, we sent that over to my boyfriend and I. We printed that out. We sent it over to Staples over here locally, and they're all following her story over here. You know, we're a small, tight community
Mhm.
here. Everybody knows my face and who I am when I walk in the door. The minute I walk in, they're like, "Any good news yet? Any good news?" You know, I mean, and it's every store that we go to. However, it's you know, Staples, they printed out hundreds of these I Am That Mother, had them stapled together, all the pictures there, everything. We took those letters and we dropped them off at every EMT, every hospital, every fire department, police department, every sheriff's department,
Wow.
highway patrol. And I said, listen, somebody needs to help me make a change, because if I'm going through all this, why would I do this if I didn't believe her?
Right.
Right.
Why would she fight so hard if she didn't believe herself?
Mm-hmm. And the evidence
It's
is
just-
obviously there. It's obviously there.
And there's more evidence that comes in daily. You know, the minute I made that TikTok, people started sending me the most disgusting things I've ever seen or heard.
Really?
Okay, and I'm talking more videos, more footage of what she does.
So have you guys gone to the media to see if maybe that would help? Have you talked to local news stations?
We have done a rally that we really weren't planned and ready for. Or it would have had a better turnout. But I've gone to ABC, Action 30, and the reason why is because they did a story on her bashing her. Mm-hmm. And so why not do a story on the mother's fight for her? Why not do a story asking the public for the Snapchat video that shows Erica's hands on the wheel moments before the accident, that we know is out there? Why can't we ask these people? Why can't somebody do a news media, like, this is what's happening. This girl doesn't even have bail, but she's not a malice person. She's not a flight risk.
Right.
Why does this child molester have $8,000 bail?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And a release date?
Mm-hmm. So Angie, just one more time, I know we already talked about this, but just one more time, where are those places that people can go to get support, and the organizations that are helping Stephanie?
The organizations that are helping Stephanie, and you can go and get help at some of these also. The ACLU,
mm-hmm.
Breaking the Silence.
Mm-hmm.
The one for Rebecca for her Facebook is Bring Rebecca Home, and there's a petition and her Venmo, plus more info on the case there. And if Rebecca gets sentenced, the Operation Innocent Project will come into play then,
which is a great organization. So,
but you have to be
sentenced,
convicted first,
right?
Yeah, sentenced.
Okay. Today was super emotional.
It was.
Stephanie is such a strong, loving mother, and I think the love that she has for her daughter is obvious, and it's driving her and helping keep her moving these last 2 years in this horrible nightmare that she found herself in, and still having to have, raise 2 other kids. Well, they're grown now, but you know what I'm saying, still be a mom to 2 other daughters, and everything that she has going on in her life. I just want to let everybody out there know, after getting to know Stephanie, she is an amazing woman.
She's a really amazing woman. She's very strong and
mm-hmm. very
driven.
So. Yes. So if you can help, please do, and please spread the word. The more people that hear about this and sign the petition, the better off things will be for Stephanie and Rebecca, and hopefully we'll be part of helping get her released, and she should not be in jail.
Right. Hopefully on our update, we'll have Rebecca with us.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Be awesome.
That would be amazing. Let's make that a goal. Hopefully,
just throw that out there.
That's right.
Hopefully we can do that.
Hopefully that will happen. So what is the mantra for this week, Angie?
But as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. 2 Chronicles 15:7.
Wow. I think, Stephanie, if you're listening, and I know you probably are, I hope that touches your heart. It touches mine, and I think it's really...
It touched mine too.
Yeah, for this situation especially. We hope that this week's episode will bring awareness and support for Stephanie and Rebecca and their family. If you did get something out of this and feel like you want to help, please like, share, follow, spread the word. Go to Rebecca's page, sign the petitions. As far as we go, all of our social media information will be announced in just a moment. Please join us next week for a brand new episode. You don't want to miss it. Until then, thank you for listening, and please remember that we are stronger together.
Mask up, y'all. Peace out.
Unified through chronic and mental illness can be found at anchor.fm/unified. There you can find all social media links as well as other ways to listen.